All right, everyone, we are here for episode 71. 71 of Stub Luv Live. And I've got Tom Daly, TKD Tickets. I've got Chase Maz, Ticket History. Woo, woo, this is going to be a good one. Oh, yeah.
That was
Still
awesome.
hits.
Yeah.
Still hits.
It's a good
How are
one.
you guys tonight? Y'all
Those are the
excited?
best. Those are the best of the best tickets.
They are.
We're gonna show some that people can actually attain.
That's true.
Right.
I got to tell you, I've always said this to you guys. First of all, how you doing, Tom? You doing well?
Good. Yep.
Chase, you
Doing
ready?
great. Oh yeah.
Good. Oh, always good to have you guys on. I tell everyone, and this is not nonsense. I can have a show with Patrick Ryan. I don't get nervous. I can have a show with Joe Orlando from Heritage. I'm not nervous. I can have Scott Foraker on, biggest collector of all time. I'm not nervous. I get these two cats on, man, I'm nervous. These guys they're intense. They're intense collectors. And you always want to do well in front of people that you admire and you respect. And these guys I respect and admire a lot. So I'm happy to have you on. But man, I always get a little jittery with you guys because I know you're expecting a lot. I've got so many windows open and so many things that could go wrong tonight that I'm just hoping that nothing does.
Yeah, you need your research.
Well, you have the research, but I was saying to Tom, I need a producer. I need like an assistant,
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, I need someone to do all the tech stuff. So, all right. So the topic today was, every ticket tells a story. We love our storytelling through tickets. And, Chase and Tom came to me and they're like, sometimes a story is told a lot better if you show 2 or 3 tickets or maybe 3 or 4 tickets. And putting those together to build, maybe even your own story or recreating your own kind of version of history is super important in ticket collecting. So that's the idea tonight. The last 2 guests we've talked basically the state of the hobby and, not really have been. And then we had Joe Orlando on, with Heritage. So we really weren't super ticket focused. We always focus on tickets. Guys, this is going to be full on nerding out on tickets tonight. So if you're all into that, get ready because that's what it's going to be. So let's start. I'm going to start with Chase. Unfortunately, Chase, I'm going to start with one that, I personally don't love or 2 that I don't love, but go ahead and talk about them.
Yeah, no, these are great tickets. Yeah, when we were talking about, this topic, I think one of the things that kind of struck me was just putting together 2 things that maybe didn't necessarily belong together at once, or maybe the same person obviously wasn't at both of these games, but they're kind of stuck together in history now, and they really do tell a story. So what I put together here is the first game, May 25th, 1994. This is what's called the guarantee game. The Rangers, go down in the series to the Devils. Messier puts out there, we will win tonight, talking about game 6. It's all over the headlines, the newspapers, it's front page. And he goes out and backs it up. Hat trick, all in the 3rd period, the game tying goal, the game winning goal, then an empty netter. The Rangers force a game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they ultimately, make it to, the Stanley Cup. And then in the Stanley Cup, they win in another game 7, and Leach is the MVP. And, Messier is credited with the game-winning goal, but years later, kind of admits that it might have been someone else that it deflected off of, Brian Noonan. But you can see these two tickets; they kind of belong together. Without the guarantee game, there never would have been this Stanley Cup win. It was the first one. I think it was like a 54-year drought or something for the Rangers. It was the longest one at the time in the NHL. Obviously, the Rangers are quietly approaching, the 31 years now. So we're getting close to that 50 number again. But yeah, I mean, just an incredible game, and then obviously incredible Stanley Cup win. And yeah, the guarantee win signed by Messier, and then the full Game 7 Stanley Cup signed by both Leach and Messier. So two awesome tickets that I think really go together.
Yeah, they really do complement each other very nicely. Even for me, a non-Ranger fan, and still pretty cool. And they definitely tell a story. And for Rangers fans back then, there was no story better. So pretty cool for you guys. Okay, I'm going to bring one up for Tom now. Let me get
While you're doing that, I need to, I'd be remiss if I didn't say the Devils have won 3 Stanley Cups since the Rangers won that one.
Big Devils fan. Follow him on Instagram. Every once in a while, he goes to games, and it's usually a Devils game.
He does. He does. Well, it's more pathetic. My Flyers haven't won one since the 74-75 season, and doesn't seem like we have a chance at winning one anytime soon. So you guys are in better spots than me. Let me pull this up for Tom. 2 amazing tickets, in my opinion. Very historical. Go ahead, Tom, and talk about why they kind of go together.
So sure. So one is Frank Robinson, the first Black manager in baseball, and that was a historic event, one that was really kind of looked forward to in baseball. We had Jackie Robinson who broke in, but it took many years, and it wasn't even in his lifetime to see a Black manager come in. And that's a ticket that I had bought a while ago. And the other one, Art Shell's coaching debut. So I think that's my most recent pickup. And he became the first Black head coach in the modern era. So when I was looking this up, I didn't realize there was a Black coach back in 1925, and it went that long without the NFL having another Black head coach. But I know we've done in the past kind of the social look at tickets and the stories behind them. So I thought these were 2 that really go well together and kind of speak to where we've come so far.
So Frank Robinson, first African-American manager in Major League Baseball for the Cleveland Indians. So first manager in the American League. Tom or Chase, do you know who was the first African-American manager in the National League?
I don't.
I don't know. I don't know either. Frank Robinson.
That would be Frank Robinson.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
It's really pretty amazing that Frank Robinson, I mean, he's a 500 home run hitter. He won the Triple Crown. He's first African-American manager in both leagues. Really done some, amazing things. It was kind of cool. I kind of did a little bit of playing around with this. And
one thing I was going to say,
what was the team in 1925 before you guys go forward? Do you remember? Do you know that one, Tom?
I don't remember offhand. So
okay,
I don't have
I
that
was
one
curious.
written down.
I wanted to share this too. Let me try to share this if I can. I thought this was kind of cool. Like you could take that ticket, Tom. I mean, and you could buy this Jet magazine on eBay. It's $8.99. And it's a Jet magazine about Frank Robinson being the first African-American manager in Major League Baseball. And it's in, like Jet magazine. I think they actually had some articles and some things that were like Ebony magazine. I mean, again, it just goes to help tell the story. So pretty cool. I happened to see it. And, I think it would be great if you could find a signed one.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Just pretty cool stuff, pretty awesome.
I was going to say, I did look up the pops. So the Robinson and the Shell are both top 8 for the Stub. So
wow.
Not that many out there.
Wow. 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 Wow.
I'm sure there's
Yeah.
more art shell tickets in drawers and cupboards and cigar boxes out there.
Yeah. It's a good one though. I've always really liked both of those tickets. I'll go real quick. If Chase is going to do something that's, New York related, I'm going to do something that's somewhat Philadelphia related. And, I think it's pretty cool. The Chuck Bednarik hits Frank Gifford and lays him out. 1960 Eagles Giants. Does not get much better than that. Great ticket. Not a lot of them. And then, of course, to have the pairing that goes along with it is that Frank Gifford was actually out for an entire year of football before he came back because the hit was so traumatic and so horrific. So, it's pretty amazing to believe that this almost put Frank Gifford completely and totally out of football. And I wanted to show this, very quickly, if I could.
It almost ended his career. I mean, it was just a complete annihilation.
I actually think he only played one more year. And, I'm going to show this too, if I can, because I kind of think it was just cool to see it, to kind of see the unbelievable nature of the hit. But we have, let me pull it up here. Well, it's not going to let me scroll. Oh yeah, it is going to let me scroll. Just give me 1 second, guys.
It's just perfectly legal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's not giving me the opportunity to find this again. So, but it shows Frank Gifford getting laid out, and then it shows Frank Gifford being carried off on a stretcher.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's just a pretty unbelievable moment in NFL history. So I thought that one was a cool one to share, and I think those pair up really nicely to tell a story. The next one, Chase, I got to tell you, I think this is an awesome pairing. And there are two more modern tickets.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's not two tickets that complement each other any better. So I'm going to turn it over.
No, absolutely. I mean, when you're setting out to, you get one ticket and you're like, okay, this is a historic moment, but obviously, like, you got to get the second one to really make it part of the collection. And I actually got the later game, the NLCS first, and it was a nice full, so it came back as 7, which I was pretty happy with. And then I didn't find as great a condition for the Dolphin one, but I had to get it signed. And by the way, Deion Sanders has like the worst signature nowadays. I mean, no pride in his signature. I mean, look at that. I was surprised PSA even slabbed it, but luckily they did. But this is just an absolutely historic moment. Deion Sanders, 2 sports in one day, going to become the first professional athlete to play in 2 major sports on the same day. And, he plays this NLCS game he plays game 4, the night before on October 10th, lands in Miami at midnight, is dressed and ready to go, actually receives like the opening kickoff, at the Dolphins game, for the Falcons, and plays that whole game. And then Nike, in their infinite wisdom, was like, we got to somehow make this happen. So they get him the private jet, they get him the helicopter from the airport to land, near the stadium. He arrives 16 minutes before NLCS game 5. He suits up, he's ready to go, but he actually doesn't get in the game. And, you have to wonder if there was any kind of like politics there. I know afterwards the GM of the Braves said this is just a distraction, but, he did go to play in the World Series that year, and he batted like .550 in 4 games. He had a tremendous World Series, even though they lost to the Blue Jays. But, he did make it happen. He didn't play in the second game, but, in the same day, he suited up for 2, professional sports, football, NFL, and baseball, MLB. So it's just an incredible accomplishment. And, every year on, October 11th, you see all the stuff all over Instagram, prime time. He does it, 2 sports in one day. There was a 30 for 30 on ESPN about it. So it's just a tremendous like accomplishment and historic moment in sports. And, you got to get the tickets from both games. You have to wonder if anyone else actually did go to both games. I mean, that would be cool if they were able to do that. I don't think they did, besides anyone in his entourage, because I don't know how they would have pulled it off without a private jet. But it's a super cool moment.
Yeah, the 30 for 30 is great. And I even think it's like Pat O'Brien who follows him. And it's just a phenomenal 30 for 30 if you haven't watched it. And if anyone believes that it wasn't, old school baseball that prevented Dion from playing in that game that night, I'll tell you something else, because absolutely they didn't like the fact that he was showing up the team and he was the story. And that's why they didn't play him, because, he should have played that game. It was, but no, I mean, I remember this, guys, like it was yesterday. I mean, don't you all?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, his contract, like the weird thing about it, him not playing, was that he had this contract where he wasn't going to be allowed to play in the postseason because of his NFL commitments. But then they agreed to let him play. And so it's like, if you're going to agree to let him play, just let him play. I mean, he would have been a great addition to your team. I mean, it wasn't like he was some slouch, you know what I mean? Like, he was a tremendous athlete.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. I'm going to show a pretty kind of cool setup that I have. I think a lot of people are aware of the 1971 Pittsburgh Pirates first all minority lineup. And it's a very tough ticket. I got lucky and was able to acquire one some years ago. I think I've only seen one other, and that's Jeremy Shuey. And it's just a phenomenal ticket. But one that popped up, Jason Bergoglio, another phenomenal collector out in California, humongous debut collector. I'm trying to get him on the show. Jason, if you're listening, you're coming on at some point, please. But, a phenomenal collection. I mean, I saw the guy's registry and I was just blown away. But he knows that I'm into, the social historical. And he said, there's this ticket from 1954 and it's a Dodgers Braves ticket. And it actually is the first time that a team, and it was the Dodgers, fielded a majority black lineup, a majority African-American lineup. So I thought that these two complemented themselves, actually each other, very well. In the game for the Dodgers versus the Braves in 1954, I mean, you got to think there weren't that many teams that were integrated at that point. There was still a bunch of teams that had not fielded one African-American player. And the Dodgers in 54 were fielding a majority lineup that's African-American. It was Don Newcomb pitching to Roy Campanella. And then the other three players were Jackie Robinson, of course, Jim Gilliam, and Sandy Amoros. So pretty historical, pretty amazing. I thought they complemented each other very well. And then, of course, everyone knows the 1971 I think it was Willie Stargell that looked around and said, hey, it's all brothers that are starting today. And he's been quoted as saying that. And it's Rennie Stennett, Gene Clines, Roberto Clemente, Willie Stargell, Manny Sanguillen, Dave Cash, Al Oliver, Jackie Hernandez, and pitching Doc Ellis.
Yeah. I think what's cool about both those tickets too is that, whoever went to the game probably didn't really register at the time, like what they were witnessing until years after. Right. So, how many of those really survived, did people hold on to them? And so I think, that adds a little bit of an element to collecting both of those.
For sure. And, without Jason, I would have never known about that. And it just is a testament to him and his research and what he finds. He's really good at what he does. And I was really thankful that he reached out to me and was interested in kind of letting one go. So the next one that I have for Chase.
Wait, what about Tom? We skipped him.
Oh, sorry. I'm skipping Tom. So the next one that I have for Tom is pretty cool.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So another Philadelphia tie-in here. So Joe Frazier. And so Howard, you're a Philadelphia guy. Did you ever go to the fights at the Blue Horizon?
So I did not. That was a little bit kind of like before my time. And I don't think I was being taken by my dad to the Blue Horizon, but
So yeah, in the mid '80s. So I went to school at Penn, and I had a friend who was a big fight fan, and he used to take me to the Blue Horizon in the mid '80s. And uh, one night that we went to Blue Horizon, one of Joe's sons was boxing there, and so my friend's like, Joe Frazier's going to come. He's going to drive up. Go say hi to him. So I walk up to him. I say hi to him, and Joe is like Mr. Outgoing, and he gives me the whole flashy handshake, and makes me feel like $1,000,000. And it wouldn't be right if I didn't show some personal tickets. So I dug out my Blue Horizon tickets here. So
very cool.
I always liked.
You're really dating yourself, Tom.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? We collect these things, man. So what you're showing here is Joe Frazier, his Olympics ticket in 1964, when he was actually a late addition to the boxing team for Team USA, and despite breaking his thumb, he won the gold medal in Tokyo. And I just think that's a wonderfully designed ticket. Those Olympic tickets from the 60s and early 70s are just, I think, really speak to the ticket design and just the way you convey information across a whole population of people on the whole globe that is all coming and speaking different languages. So
did you look up the pop on that one, Tom? I thought that was a pretty tough ticket, that Joe Frazier gold medal ticket.
I did actually. There's it's a pop 2 for the stub, and I think there's one full, and I think there's maybe 1 or 2 raw out there, but it's not an easy ticket to find.
Mm.
Yeah, for my kind of Philly collection and my Philly wants, I've always wanted that Joe Frazier gold medal, and I think there was one, or there might even still be one on eBay that's raw, but the guy just wants a fortune for it. So it'll have to wait for another day. But awesome ticket, really tough ticket, Tom.
Yeah, and I think it pairs great with the the fight of the century ticket, the Ali Frazier 1, which was unifying the heavyweight title. And that was back when boxing was a big event. And, I think back to, Frank Sinatra was a ringside photographer for Life magazine at the event. It was really something to be seen. And, you look at that 1971 ticket price of $50. So
it's crazy.
But,
to see the fight of the century, huh? It's amazing.
And I know that's a ticket that gets a lot of demand. I know there's a lot of interest in it, and but there's a lot around. I look up the pops, and there's 31 stubs out there, 12 fulls. So
yeah, there's something about those Madison Square Garden tickets that people just held on to, right? I don't know. It seems like they pop up pretty often,
and they're certainly not the best looking tickets out there.
No, they were shredded at the box office, whatever they were doing.
I would definitely say that the fulls are really difficult to find and command a real premium. But if you're a ticket collector and you like Ali and you like Frazier and you like, history of sports, nothing beats, Ali Frazier 1.
Yeah, it's kind of like a must-have to, even though there's a lot out there. I mean, and I think even like the ones that are not in great condition, they go for like $900,000 or something.
That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel as though if you're someone who's interested in ticket collecting, that's kind of one that's almost like a must-have. So let me go ahead. Let me see if we can jazz this up a little bit. I'm going to try to do that here. Just give me 1 second if I can.
You really do need a producer, man. You are like behind the scenes with all this.
I'm doing it all, guys. I'm doing it all.
I
mean, it's
impressive.
It's just not that easy. But let me see if I can add this, and let me see if I can get it to play.
All right, yeah.
There's no guarantees that I am, but let me see if I can get it to play.
Hit high in the air to left field. Going to the corner, Yastrzemski. It's over the wall. It's a home run for Bucky Dent. Yankees get the lead 3-2, and it's just cleared the just cleared the top of the wall in left.
So
yeah, I mean, what a moment.
So what an amazing moment. That was actually announced by the great Keith Jackson. But I think we can kind of refer to this as the Bucky effing Dent, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, right. It's probably like one of the more famous home runs in postseason history. The curse of the Bambino obviously lived on, and one game playoff. They're tied at the end of the regular season. The Red Sox and the Yankees, they play the one game at Fenway, and he hits the home run to give them the lead in the seventh. And it's one of the most historic, I think, Yankee moments out there. And this is a guy who only had 40 home runs his entire career, right? So he hits one over the monster. It's crazy, right?
Really is.
But I think pairing it with the debut, right? So it's not a Hall of Famer debut or anything like that, but it's a pretty rare ticket. And without the debut, you weren't going to have the Bucky Dent home run. So it's I think a good pairing to go together.
It absolutely is, and I think it's a pretty great one for sure.
And he had no hits. He had no hits in his debut. Actually, 0 at bats. So he came in to play second base after they had a pinch hitter for the second baseman, and then they pinch hit him when he came around to bat. So he had no at bats.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, one of the most classic moments in all of baseball history, for sure.
And the Yankees won the World Series, and he actually was the World Series MVP. So, great moment for him.
Yeah, it really is. Really is. So, Tom, you're up, and it doesn't get more classic vintage baseball than this. With maybe, in my opinion, the top collectible baseball player, and maybe the second or third. It all depends where you put Babe Ruth. I don't know. Two of the top three for sure. But talk to us about this, Tom.
Yeah, certainly two icons between Jackie Robinson and Mickey Mantle. And so these two tickets are two games where they each homered in the same game. And it wasn't, they didn't have a lot of opportunity to play together. So spring training games, World Series games. So you see here 1956 game one. So both Mickey and Jackie homered in that game. And that was, Jackie's last season. So,
yeah.
And then in 1952, so what the Yankees and Dodgers used to do in the regular season was they would play a charity game for raising funds for Sandlot Baseball. And that was this game in 1952. And I was reading about this game. So Mickey hit the go-ahead home run in the 8th. So they went ahead 5-3. And then they called the game so the Yankees could go catch a train to make their next game out west. So you didn't even get a full 9 innings. But
it's crazy.
I think two great players, and just the oddity of them both having home runs in the same game is makes them a good pair here.
Yeah. I've seen that picture. I don't know if it's from that 1952 game or not, Tom, but it's a pretty amazing picture of. I think Jackie's playing first base in the game and Mickey's the runner, and just to see them standing next to each other, I mean, it's just such an iconic photo.
Yeah,
it is. I've seen that. I think that's a spring training photo, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you might be right. That could be a spring training photo. But just a phenomenal pairing. Just wow, screams vintage baseball, and a great and phenomenal story for both of them. So yeah. I like that one a lot. I like that pairing a lot.
The vintage Yankees tickets look so cool. I mean, there's something about them.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
They're classic tickets with a Yankee logo there.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess I'm going to show these next. For me growing up, one of the big events in I guess my teenage years, I had just graduated from high school, and it was, the dream team. And, it's the greatest basketball team that's ever been put together. I still think if you put those guys on a court today, they might actually compete with guys that are playing basketball today. But you have this really cool ticket, and it's this basketball tournament of the Americas played out in Portland, Oregon, where the dream team for the first time, competes together as a team. And this is their first game. And it's really the first time you ever really see the dream team together. And, it's a pretty cool ticket. I coveted it for a long time, was able to kind of get a little bit of an eBay steal where someone had a whole bunch of these tickets from all the games and then 2 from the first. And I was lucky enough to snag it. But it doesn't really goes without saying that if you're going to pair the first game that the dream team was ever really together, why not pair it with the gold medal game? And, I just think, it's a pretty good pair. So, one that really means a lot to me. And I think when we look back in sports history, I think people are going to look very, very fondly on the dream team. And I'd love to have this dream team finals ticket and even this debut ticket signed by, Jordan or whoever it could be. But, and I know that there are some people that have the final one signed by a lot of the guys and are still working. Wow. So God bless them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That really
what was the building on that first ticket? What, like, that was in Portland, some kind of.
Yeah. So it says the games were played at the Memorial Coliseum in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
it was the international debut of the Dream Team, which defeated Venezuela in the final to win the tournament. Puerto Rico and Brazil made the semifinals to also qualify for the Olympics.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so not bad. Not bad. Let me get rid of that one so that we can add more to it. Now, this one, I think, before we put it up, I have another little present for us that I found, and I kind of think it's kind of cool because if you're a baseball card collector, you've kind of always thought about this. But if you're not a baseball card collector, I think it's, this one. It was pretty memorable to me as someone who was a card collector. I always like, how in the world did this even happen? Because when I was a kid, I was like, what in the world is this? But you have this Fleer card, and it's Joel Youngblood. And he played in 2 games in the same day for different teams.
Yeah.
And I used to just remember thinking, this is the coolest card. And how in the heck did this happen? And, the card was the split card and just always meant a whole heck of a lot to me. And I just thought it was really cool. And then, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, well, how in the world would anyone back, when I was thinking about this from a card perspective, how would anyone think enough to get both of these? So Chase, go ahead and tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, just an absolutely incredible day and moment in sports, but first time in history, a player has 2 hits for 2 different teams on the same day. And so he's, playing against the Cubs at Wrigley, and he hits what would eventually be the game-winning hit that scored the run that put the Mets ahead. And in the middle of the game, he's traded, and so he's traded to the Expos, and they happen to be playing in Philadelphia later that day. So he goes and he gets on a plane and he flies to Philly, and he makes it in time to show up and I forget, in the kind of the beginning part of the game, and then has 2 hits, I think. And so his hit against the Cubs comes off Fergie Jenkins, and his hit against the Phillies comes off Steve Carlton, who are both future Hall of Famers. So that adds a little bit more to the story, right?
For sure.
And then reading through some of the newspaper articles is really interesting. So when he's leaving Wrigley, he actually forgot his glove in the clubhouse. So he tells the cab driver, hey, you got to go back. Guy brings him back. He gets his glove, almost misses the flight because he wasn't flying private. He was just hopping on some commercial flight, and he almost missed it. So this almost didn't happen. So you got to go out and you got to get tickets from both of those games, right? It's, talk about a perfect pairing.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what now, Chase? I've got to buy you, me, and Tom a signed Joel Youngblood Fleer card from back in the day.
Yeah, I need one of those.
Yeah, for sure. So, very cool, goes together, tells a great story. It's a legendary moment in baseball history. And I think now we've even seen it happen. Didn't it happen recently? I forget what the player's name was, but he played
Yeah,
for
I don't know if he had 2 hits, but I think he played for 2 teams in the same day.
Well, it wasn't, I don't think it was the same day. I think it was the same. Go ahead, Tom. You were going to say.
Well, there was the one guy who got traded and then played against himself.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's what happened.
Later.
Very different than the Joel Youngblood.
He walked. Yeah, that's right. He walked like across like the bullpen or whatever after being traded in the game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a great one. Tom, I think you've got a pretty cool one here. So I'm gonna throw this one up. Awesome pairing. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about these legendary tickets.
So yeah, these tickets, Pele, that one, the first one there, the 1970 World Cup, that was his last World Cup game, and the Brazil team won their 3rd World Cup, and a lot of people think that was the best World Cup team in World Cup history, and Pele scored the first goal in that game, and so that I know there's a lot of you see a lot of the debut tickets, and the first World Cup he played in. But I personally like these 1970 tickets. I like the design of them, and they're a little bit tougher. You don't see them around as much. I know when I got this one, I bought it from a seller in Mexico, and 6 weeks later, it showed up in my mailbox. So what I paired that with.
What else was in the mail?
What are you trying to say, Chase?
Well, you know what? I think the debut, the Pele World Cup debut, is really taken off in value. I mean, it's really done amazing. But I was talking a little bit with Tom, and I think what's kind of undervalued are the tickets to the clinchers for the other World Cups. So that are Pele oriented, and these are great tickets, and they tell a great story. And I think with the proliferation of soccer internationally, these tickets are just great tickets. And I think people will look back at these tickets, these Pele tickets, these Pele World Cup tickets, and moments with him in the Cosmos, and what he did for soccer in America, as super collectible. So good ones for you here, Tom.
Yeah, that was his. So just a little bit. That was his last game when he played for the Cosmos, and he played an exhibition game against his team from Brazil. And so I'll date myself. I remember when he was playing for the Cosmos back in the 70s, and the Giant Stadium would be filled with soccer fans. They would draw 60, 70,000 people to those games, and that last game was a big deal. It was on ABC Sports, and it was broadcast across the country. So,
wow,
that's awesome.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. It's a good pairing. It's a good story. I like it. So I'm going to show one here. I hope I can get the video to play. We're getting very techy, very technologically advanced.
More videos. I like that.
What's that?
More videos. I like this.
Well, I did a little bit of videos. I try to do videos for all of our tickets, and I had some pictures too, but let's see if I can get this one to play. Actually, to the day today.
Wow, yeah.
40-year anniversary. So let's see if we can get it to play.
Hey, bada, swing, bada. Hey, bada, swing, bada. Kennedy, swing, bada.
That's
well,
awesome.
I got to tell you, pretty amazing movie, pretty amazing scene. I've done that scene with friends a million times, and to have the 2 Ferris Bueller tickets, one from the game where they filmed, which is that game. It's actually the 40-year anniversary to the day today, and then of course the game that was on television that Darren Brevell made famous when Claudel Washington hits the pop-up off Lee Smith, and everyone's able to figure out, holy moly, there was actually a game, and it's real, and that's the game.
Yeah.
I have intentionally kept my the one on the right, the Cubs Braves game, unslabbed, because I'm still waiting for Matthew Broderick to do a damn signing. And I haven't found one, and I haven't seen one, and I just haven't gotten it yet. And I'll crack the filming game when he signs. But how do you have one without the other? And I got to tell you, the Braves Cubs ticket, that's a rare one.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen a lot of those. And when I was given the opportunity to buy it, I had to pair it up. So I was kind of thinking ahead of you guys. When I went ahead and bought both. So I was pretty excited to have.
Yeah.
Those.
And I will say, the one where they actually filmed at the game, the people were probably aware of that, right? So they were like, oh, I was at the game, I'm going to hold on to the ticket. But people definitely weren't aware that they were at, the clip that was going to be played later in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's, those are great tickets. And it's just, I think what's awesome about it too is that filming at an actual live game, like it rarely happens. I mean, we know some examples or whatever, right? But like, there's just too many unknowns to actually be able to pull that off. So it's super cool that they did that.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put these up for you, Chase. Super historical, terrific. And I love these. Explain. And of course, Mr. Maz has to have fulls.
Yeah.
Fulls
well, it's part of my Army Navy set, so it's I got to have the fulls. But I think Army Navy tickets are like some of the most collectible, like just incredible artwork through the years. I mean, you'll see as you go through some of them. But these are two super historic games. So 1961. JFK is elected as president, and this is his first Army Navy game that he attends. It's the first time since like 1950 something. I think Harry Truman was the last one to attend. So it's been like 12 years or 14 years or whatever. And he participates actually in the first president to participate in the ceremonial coin toss.
Yeah.
So kind of a really historic moment there. And he's a Navy guy. He's a big football fan, grew up, playing backyard touch football in Hyannis like his whole life. Right. And when he got elected to president, he actually invited like members of the team, including Joe Bellino, to his house in Georgetown and then invited them to the inauguration and was like super excited to be like, the first thing he wanted to do was attend an Army Navy football game. Right. Like that was a big thing for him. So he goes again in 1962, and then obviously, unfortunately, is assassinated, and shortly before the game in 1963 on November 22nd. So the game is supposed to be held on November 30th, so 8 days later. So they postpone the game. They don't know what they're going to do. Should we cancel it? The entire country's in mourning, and the coach cancels practice, and the team is distraught. They don't know what to do. Their hero has been, murdered. And Jacqueline Kennedy, obviously his wife, first lady, says that her husband would want the game to go on. So in his honor, we kind of have to hold this game. And so they hold the rescheduled game on December 7th. They play the game, and it's kind of a historic pairing, I guess, that they go together. And obviously Navy wins the game. There was a controversial call or whatever, but they won the game. And Kennedy was a Navy guy, so they kind of won it in his honor, and they ended up getting selected to go to the Cotton Bowl after the win. So it's it's a big moment for the Navy football team. And Roger Staubach obviously is the quarterback. And there's a really great book called President's Team about about that game, and highly recommend reading this book if if you're interested in learning more about it. But fantastic story and really great pairing, I think.
I agree. I'm jealous. Super historical. I mean, it hits sports, it hits politics, it hits social history. I mean, it hits everything. So it's great. Love them both. Great pairing. That's just a terrific matchup, Chase. Good one by you. Tom, these are pretty legendary too, these next that are coming up. And, I love baseball, but man, this is dang cool.
Yes. So this pair. So a couple of historic tickets over 100 years old. So Joe Jackson, Shoeless Joe. You see the 1917 World Series there. So that was Game 6. That was the
Yeah.
game where the White Sox won the World Series. Joe Jackson won the World Series. He had something like 24 hits in that series, had a home run, starred the team. And then 2 years later, the 1919, the White Sox returned to the World Series, and everybody in ticket collecting, everybody, baseball fans know the Black Sox history. And Game 1 with Sakati hitting the first batter and saying the fix is on, and Shoeless Joe hitting 300 in the World Series anyway, but being implicated in the fix and being banned from baseball by the commissioner. And that's the Black Sox ticket. That's highly collectible and sought after ticket.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think that 1917 ticket pairs well with it. 2 consecutive World Series games for Shoeless Joe, and that 1917 tickets. It's actually a lot tougher than the 1919 World Series ticket.
I was just going to say that. I would bet you that 1917 ticket is way harder than that Game 1 from 1919.
Yeah, I think I've got the pops here somewhere on my notes, but it was definitely in the single digits when I looked it up. So
I mean, I think out of all the tickets that I was showing, Chase was showing. No offense, Chase, and I'm taking no offense to the comment, but I think that ticket, Tom, that 1917, Joe Jackson only World Series title. I mean, that was really one that blew me away. It really did.
Yeah, Tom sneakily has some heavy hitter tickets.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, he's an old guy. He's been doing it a long time.
Yeah,
he should, he should.
Yeah, I'm showing my age here. I was actually at that 1917 game.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's his personal. That's the personal ticket. One of his personal tickets.
He was there in attendance, carrying Joe's bag. But Tom, great pairing, super cool. I wouldn't have thought about it that way. I kind of would have thought, Game 1 of 1919, maybe Game 8 of 1919 would have been a cool pairing. But this may be better. This may be a cooler pairing, to be quite candid.
That's awesome.
It's funny. I've been dealing with so much of this online, and I see that we have, and I'm missing these comments.
Are there comments? Where are the comments?
Yeah, there were comments. People saying they really want the tickets. People commenting on the Bednarik Gifford ticket. I mean, I can't. Like I said, I need a producer. I producer.
I didn't see the comments until now. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty cool that people are commenting, and I apologize. I'll keep them open now. So if anyone does, let me pull these down a little bit. Let me see. I have people saying stuff here. It's pretty amazing. I have people commenting on Instagram too, and I can't see the comments on Instagram. I can only see them here.
Oh, that's funny.
So, I apologize. I can't be in 2 places at once, but it is running in 2 places. So, this one, let me go ahead if I could. I have a little video for this one, and I think it's pretty cool, and I think it's probably poignant to show because it's kind of so memorable. So I want to see if we can get this one up. Let me go ahead and share it first. So many different movements and maturations of this, but let me go ahead and see if I can show it.
2 of them. All right.
Oh,
every generation.
I guess
Where's your
commercial?
I
got a commercial.
Is the brand for players.
Oh my goodness!
You're not even getting money for this.
There you go.
What he's doing out there, it looks like he's going to burn a flag, and Rick Monday runs and takes it away from him. And so Monday, I think a guy was going to set fire to the American flag. Can you imagine that?
Listen to Vin. Listen to Vin.
Well, they better lose him in a hurry. And Monday, when he realized what he was going to do, raced over and took the flag away from him.
There you go. There you go. So a little bit of a video there. And of course, my next pairing is kind of cool. I think we've all seen the ticket from, Rick Monday saving the American flag. Really phenomenal moment in baseball history, incredibly memorable. What you don't see is that, what happened to the flag? Yeah, Rick Monday saves the flag. It wasn't his flag. Where does it go? And then it winds up that later that same year, Rick is in Chicago, and he winds up getting the flag presented to him by Al Campanis, who was the Dodgers general manager. And they present Rick Monday with the actual flag. And I know because a buddy of mine does some private signings with Rick that he actually still has the flag.
Oh, cool.
So pretty crazy. And I think a great pairing. I don't know that I've seen another Rick Monday receives the U.S. flag other than I know Matt Fuller, who's a tremendous Chicago Cubs fan and collector. He has one. But it took me a long time to find that ticket, and I was actually lucky enough to get it from a collector who had a double. So kind of cool. My next one, I definitely have another one here, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen this.
Are you going back to back? Wow.
Going back-to-back videos. I don't got much more, but I'm going. I'm a big shot, right? I'm going big here.
This is Howard's show. We'll just roll with it.
Let's see if we can get this one not to play with commercials and craziness. I was doing so good there, and then we had that goof up. So let me see if I can get this one to play, because this is pretty amazing. And I don't know if you guys know this. As a Phillies fan, this was big news back in the day in Philadelphia. But let me play it.
Yes, sir.
President Reagan trying to get in touch with Pete Rose.
Yes, sir. Hello? One moment, sir. Maybe operators were on strike. Good thing you're in missile on the way.
Good thing there's not a missile on the way.
I waited 19 years. I can wait another minute. I got a recording here today. Yes. If you hang up the phone, I'll call you right back. Okay. Yes. Who's speaking, please? He Rose. One moment, sir. Larry, I'll give him my home number. What's that? Just a moment, please. Hello. Hello. Pete Rose? Yes, sir. This is Ronald Reagan. How you doing? Well, I don't know. I'll tell you. I've had as much trouble getting this line, I think I had to wait longer than you did to break the record. Well, we were going to give you 5 more minutes, and that was it.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
That's about, as good as it gets. And I think it may only be topped by this.
Yeah, no, it's it's interesting because I was gonna kind of tell that story, so it already played out. But it's typical.
I ruined it for you.
No, it's great. In typical Pete Rose fashion, he's like cracking jokes and, hey, how you doing to President Reagan? But it's kind of crazy, right? He ties Stan Musial for the hits record in the National League on June 10th. And then the players go on this, 55 game strike, basically. So 55 games of the season are wiped out. They have a postponed All-Star game on like August 9th, I think. And then like right after the All-Star game, he like hops in his car because his buddy, drove his car to the All-Star game. And then they drove like kind of through the night with his son to get to the Phillies' first game after the strike. In Philadelphia on August 10th, and then he, finally passes Musial, with a hit, and so he had, I think it was the first game where he tied it. He had a hit off Nolan Ryan in like the first inning, and then he got struck out 3 times after that. So that was his like last chance to try to pass the record before the strike happened, and Reagan calls him and it's the live press conference and, he can't get in touch with them. And, what you're not seeing there also is on the back of one of those tickets, on the one he passes Musial, it's signed by Pete. So,
really cool.
Yeah. Cool. Just a cool pairing. I mean, it's 2 games separated by a very long time, but took him a while to get there, but he finally did it. And, Musial was at the game, obviously, and came out and shook his hand at first base and stuff like that. And the whole crowd, went crazy. So, awesome couple of moments.
Yeah, I think so too. Great Pete Rose story, great baseball story, great Phillies story, great presidential story. It's got so much. Great Stan Musial story. I mean, it's pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. The next one is Tom's. I think I have a video here too for Tom. I'm certainly going to try. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. So we'll try one more. I was trying to get as many videos as I could find that would actually play. So let me see if I can get this one to actually play. Well, there you go. It's short. It was short, but kind of sweet. And Tom, you have a pretty darn good pairing as your last to present. So what do you got here?
So kind of a fun pair here, I think. The New York Giants ticket. So that goes back to Homer Jones and the first spike in NFL history. And Homer was he was a speedy receiver, and he caught a bomb. And he had always been trying to figure out how to celebrate his first touchdown. And what had happened is the NFL put in a fine for throwing the ball in the stands. So he was going to throw the ball in the stands, but he didn't want to pay a $500 fine. So he thought, I'm just going to throw it right into the ground. So that was the first NFL spike, and he kept doing that. And you'll see on the ticket there. So there was a time where PSA wouldn't put that on the flip. And I don't know, Chase, was it you who got him to change?
Yeah. I'm pretty proud of both of these. I did the research on them, so we got it done.
Of course, it was Chase Maz who got those done.
And then, the video you showed was Elmer Wright, the first touchdown dance. And if you do some research on this, there's a lot of different citations for the first touchdown dance. And Elmo, I guess he had a history of doing this in college, and he was looking to bring that to NFL. And what you showed, Howard, was a clip on Monday Night Football. And, it was a pretty basic touchdown dance, but that was revolutionary for the NFL back in the day. So
really was. It's funny, it's pretty simple versus what we see, but it's classically beautiful. A lot better than a lot of the dances that we see nowadays. I'll tell you that. I don't want to sound like an old man, but it is. So I think that's your last, Tom. We're getting to I think one of the longer shows. We're almost to an hour.
This is a marathon.
Yeah, this is a marathon. This is a marathon. But I knew it was going to be this way. But it's good stuff, and we're enjoying, and that's what it's all about. This one's a little controversial. Again, it's political, and if you don't like it, don't be political. Just kind of look at it as a pairing, and it's tickets, and it shows that you can collect a lot of things, not just for this gentleman, but for anybody else. I mean, you could do it for any other political figure. But let me go ahead and remove that. Sorry. So this one is Donald Trump's first debate in 2015 when he was becoming potentially the Republican nominee for that election. And then there's a ticket to the Republican National Convention where he actually becomes the Republican nominee for president. And you're kind of thinking to yourself, well, who in the world would have these? But they're out there. They're not even that uncommon. And, it's crazy because I have a tremendous political collection. I have, Barack Obama's first campaign stop. I have the first time he announced that he was going to run for president. I have Barack Obama's first pitch when he was a senator for the White Sox. So there's just so much that you can do. And, we talked about telling a story through 1 ticket, 2 tickets, how about 3 or 4? You can kind of continue on. I always thought this election night guest pass. I mean, I saw this on Heritage and it wound up not selling for a lot of money, But think about it. You were the guest of the president, and he didn't know he was going to be the president. And it was a pretty historic night in politics. And then, of course, you have, the inauguration ticket. I didn't get a ticket for the inauguration this time because I don't think they were really ticketed. It was an indoor event, and those tickets were for outdoor events. So
yeah, it's weird. I mean, they look this. I got some through the Congress person down here before they moved it indoors. So they look similar. But yeah, there's no differentiation between the indoor versus the outdoor. It's just all the same inauguration tickets, basically.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I was able to pick up a Democratic National Convention ticket where Kamala Harris was named, as the nominee. And that would have been, again, a female presidential nominee. And then I've also got some things where, she was involved because she's the first female vice president. So, I mean, all kind of historical, all tell a great story. And all tell kind of like history.
Yeah,
so,
political tickets are pretty cool. I mean, they obviously go back a very long time, but they have inaugural parade tickets and inauguration tickets and convention tickets, and there's a lot of tickets out there for political moments.
Yeah. So that's our hour and 1 minute creation tonight, way longer than we ever go.
Had a great time.
Had a great time.
Yeah,
I got to tell you, a lot of fun. Tom Daly, Chase Maz, TKD Tickets, Ticket History. They've been coming on pretty much once a month, maybe a little longer than that. But we've already been talking about, what's the next topic and getting them back on because these are two of the very best. If you guys are following tickets and you want to collect tickets or you are collecting tickets and you don't follow these guys on Instagram, you're really missing out. Chase is Ticket History on IG and Tom is TKD.tickets on Instagram. Both tremendous resources. I like them both very much. I got to see them both at the National. I hope they'll come back again this year. So we'll be able to spend a little more time together. It's kind of like the National is like a wedding. You're so excited to see everybody, and you see people, and then you see them for 3 minutes or 4 minutes, and you don't see them again. Yeah. It's like, or you see them another time for a minute or two, and it's like
Tom and I got on the floor in the lobby and kind of showed each other like what we bought, which is very reminiscent of being a kid growing up and opening a pack of cards or something.
Well, that's really cool. Well, I really appreciate, as always, you guys coming on. That's episode 71. Episode 71 of Stub Luv Live.
Subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I got to do that. Right. See, I need a producer. Yeah. Subscribe on YouTube, like and subscribe. We'll try to have, this posted tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the next day, so everyone can kind of watch it. But thanks everyone. And awesome. Hope to see everyone next time.